Jackson, welcome back to Al Dente, the art of balance. Should we bring everybody in? Should we introduce folks to the show this week?
Yes, sir.
You ready? All right.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, signore e signori, come vi piace la pasta?
Al dente.
What do we got this week, Jackson? What do we got on the docket here?
Today we have someone who I would say is al dente.
Okay.
He's fresh. He's a perfect friend, coworker, and he's been at First Colony for 13 plus years.
Woo.
We affectionately call him Lundy here.
Okay.
Steve
I like
Lundwall.
that.
He is regional vice president of sales, and I'm excited to hear what he brings.
All right, let's bring him on. I can't wait. Without further ado, here he is, Steve Lundwall. Ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm talking about. The double.
I'm loving it.
Steve, what does al dente mean to you?
Man, over the last couple of weeks, when I think al dente, I think of Brandon and Jackson, man. Like,
Synonymous.
Just perfect, just perfect.
Well, we've nailed it, Brandon.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, Steve.
We might as well quit. We might as well quit here.
Yeah.
Right? There's no need to continue at all.
Steve, a couple more things about Steve. You've seen his background. He's got pictures of his family. Family is something important to him that I've always noticed. He is a huge Dodger fan, evident by the hat he chose to wear today. And there's nobody at First Colony that relates well to everyone like Steve. Everybody feels like Steve's their buddy, and I think that's one of his secret sauces, one of his talents that you don't really recognize until you.
Secret power, superpower.
Oh yeah,
it's a superpower, right?
Superpower, yeah, that's my superpower.
Did I call it secret
sauce?
Jax?
That's nice of you.
Yeah.
This is
sauce, secret power. Al dente, secret sauce.
Yeah.
Lundy.
I guess if we're talking about pasta, that I see where you were going with that, Jackson. Yeah. Everything makes sense now.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. So one of the things that we like to ask people, Steve, because we're mortgage people, we're mortgage professionals, we're loan officers, all three of us here on this episode together, which is great. What a powerhouse to have three people in the trenches here. How would you describe your style as a loan officer?
Man,
right?
I would say I'm pretty chill, on the phone and with my clients. Like, the last thing I want them to do is be stressed out. And so I just try to just make sure that everything's good, everything's calm. Also, I want to be direct with my clients too. So I'm going to always just, hey, I literally just had someone just text me, hey, can I do this? And I was like, no, that's not going to work. I told you before it won't work. It's not going to work. We can't restructure the loan. So I think I'm going to make the transaction really smooth and easy and less stressful for them, even though it could be like chaos in the background. They're not going to see that chaos.
I love that. So
what a filter.
Jackson, you remember your style? Chameleon, right?
Yeah.
And then mine was like educator. What would be what's one word that we could use based on what Steve just described to us? What's one word that we can use to describe Steve's style?
He's like the chaos filter.
The filter.
He filters out all the chaos going on and keeps it calm for the buyer and the real estate agent and all other parties involved.
So he's like the ultimate buffer.
Yes.
Like, this is what I'm going to call it. Those are boring words. Filter and buffer. That sounds like something on your vacuum cleaner and on your internet router. How about Steve is the protector?
Yeah, I'm imagining Steve with a huge sword and a big old shield and armor.
Yes.
Biceps.
Yeah.
Just veins, right? You guys are seeing it too?
Yeah, vascular.
Your vascularity is incredible, Steve. Thank you for bringing your vascularity on Al Dente today to be with us. What's interesting to me, and Jackson and I have kind of touched on this in the past, being a loan officer is so cool and interesting, just simply because any style can be successful, right? Like certainly there's characteristics and qualities that you want a good salesperson to possess. But to our point that we just made, like Jackson has his style, you have your style, Steve, I've got a different style. We've all had and found success in different ways. I think that's the beauty of it too, because our clients are all different and unique as well. And they're going to gravitate towards the people that they align with and want to do business with. And it happens naturally, which is how I feel about this podcast right now. Is that we're all here just kind of naturally, and the perfect natural state of a noodle is al dente, right? I mean, you don't want to eat it raw and you don't want to eat it soggy. You want to eat it al dente. And people want to work with loan officers that have managed to find that perfect balance. And here's the beauty of it. Everybody's perfect balance, I feel like, could be different, because they have a unique set of circumstances and a unique situation. So balance to me means something different to you guys, right? For our individual life situations. And I think that's just la vita è bella for that reason, Jackson. As anybody, you can find balance based on what you need in life. So anyways, that's me getting a little sappy on you guys here right at the outset. Jackson, you were telling me something about a meeting you had yesterday, and I'm curious on Steve's thoughts on this too. You want to share?
Yeah, I was at a meeting yesterday. It was a luncheon, and there was a gentleman that got up and spoke. I had no idea who he was and what the topic was going to be. It was just a side part of the luncheon, and got up and he talked about kindness.
Okay.
And it was pretty impactful, actually. In fact, I'm going to take you guys through the exercise he took us through.
I was hoping you wouldn't.
Yes, let's do this.
I bet you were.
Yeah.
Okay. He did this. He said, all right, I want you to put your hand on your heart. Hand on your heart, Steve. Close your eyes. No peeking. And think of the most kindness, the kindest thing someone has done for you in your life or recently, and just think about it. And you might think of a few different things. Focus on one. You got one, guys? Do you guys have one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. We don't want any dead air on this podcast, right? Anyway, he had us do that. And I thought of, over the course of the next few minutes, I kept thinking about all these kindnesses that had happened in my life and that people had done for me, and hoped that I had been kind to other people as well. And there was these thoughts of sometimes the kindest things that affected me were actually very, very simple things that other people had done that they didn't even realize was so impactful for me. One of the guys at my table, as we were talking afterwards, he told me his kindness, and it was a hug that somebody gave him at the perfect hug from the perfect person at a critical moment, right, al dente moment for the pasta, perfect.
Yeah.
And anyway, he said as he talked about this, as this instructor talked about kindness, he said, we need to make kindness be one of our core competencies, not only in our personal lives, but in our professional lives. And I thought it was super impactful. And I was sitting with some strangers, and we all talked about these kindnesses. And at my table, there were 6 grown men, of which 3 cried within 10 minutes while we were talking to each other. It brought grown men to tears. And anyway, that was the exercise. Bring kindness back to one of your core competencies within your professional life and your personal life. There's always room for kindness.
Can I share?
Sure.
Yeah. So this is beautiful. What a beautiful moment to be sharing with you two. What I thought of, that's one of the things that I think we can also do a better job of recognizing when we are recipients of kindness too. Yeah. Right? It goes both ways, right? You can be kind, and you can also acknowledge when someone's been kind to you, and they're both rewarding experiences. And when I closed my eyes, Jackson, and you said, think of like a kindness somebody has done to you, I thought of you guys. And honestly, because I'm, newer to the team, right? I've only been here a handful of months, and a lot of people here have been here for a long time, like Steve, right? And you too, Jackson, you've been here a long time. But like, I felt immediately like I was included into this family. And that really has touched my heart, because I've been at different mortgage companies. I've been in different lending environments, and it's not always like that. In fact, it's very rarely like that. So I had a moment of just gratitude for both of you. So thanks for bringing that to the forefront. And the second lesson that I wanted to kind of share with you guys is I've noticed in probably the last year, that you really can't put a price on being kind to people, because you absolutely have no idea what they're going through on a daily basis. Even though it might look like, from the outside looking in, from social media, from all the different communication tools that we use, that everything's perfect in their life, what I've learned having deep conversations with people like we're having right now is everyone is up against their own struggle. And those moments where we can really reach out with kindness, and that hug, like you were saying, Jackson, like that might have come at the perfect time. That guy just needed a hug.
Yeah.
Right. And he might have had a bad day, gotten in an argument with one of his kids or with his spouse or whatever. You never know. That's why, like, there's just, in my opinion, like, and I had to learn this lesson because I wasn't always practicing what I preach. You just never know. So always practice kindness. Yeah. What a better way to live compared to the alternative, right? I mean, it's better for you, for your own mental health and for your own mindset, to just make it a daily practice to live in kindness and gratitude for the opportunity to interact with people around you, because we're all here fighting the good fight anyways.
That's right.
I like what you were saying, because the opposite never turns out well, right? Like, you don't feel good, the person you're being unkind to is going to not feel good, and it multiplies, and it just ruins your day, and it ruins probably many people's days if you're the opposite. Yeah. When I was thinking of when I was closing my eyes, I was just texting my wife just a minute ago, and my mother-in-law, she's gone through some things. She's like, she's just diagnosed with dementia. And so, Jamie's been going up there like 2 or 3 times a week, and man, it's like kindness to the core to go up there and take care of your mom that took care of you forever, right. And it's funny because hopefully my mother-in-law doesn't hear this, but she doesn't reciprocate back by saying, James, thanks for coming up. It takes an hour for you to go there and back. Thanks for cleaning my room and doing the dishes and making me meals and taking me to lunch. She doesn't get that, but when Jamie gets home, she's always happy and she's glad she did it, Right. And it's a good example to me and also to my kids.
Sure. I was just having that conversation, Steve, with another one of our First Colony family members here, about how when we confront challenges, like, we're all 3 of us on here are fathers. Like, our kids are silently watching what we do in the face of adversity and in the face of challenge. Like, this thought hit me hard. My oldest is going to be 16 in like 2 weeks, and he's basically an adult, right? And Steve, you've been through this. So you've got some older kids, right? Like, yep. You only have so much time with them under your watch and care before they're out on their own, making their own adult decisions, right? And I feel like the lesson I'm learning is one of the greatest lessons I can impart on my kids is showing them how to show up even when it's hard. And you don't sit down and you say, hey guys, watch me do this. You do it and they watch. And that's a powerful lesson. And then they have their own experiences in life where they go through challenges and they go, this is really hard. This is tough. This sucks. But I can do it because I saw my dad do things like this or my mom do things like this, right? And like that to me is just, I didn't know we were getting this real and raw. Steve brings it out in us, Jackson.
Yeah, man. Well, also, if you think about mortgages too, it's the same way. It's like, you can give bad news to clients with kindness. And it doesn't necessarily have to be no. It could always be not today, but maybe in 3 months, maybe in 6 months. So you don't need to avoid the bad and the hard decisions or the conversations, but it's the way that you deliver it is the most important part there.
Yeah. And it's, I don't remember who said it. Maybe it was one of you two. I feel like I heard it from one of you two, but I could have heard it from somewhere else. If it was one of you two, or if it wasn't, who cares? Just take credit for it. I feel like
it was me.
It was Jackson for sure. The statement I'm about to make, I'm going to give full credit to Jackson. How you show up anywhere is how you show up everywhere. Right. And it's like,
wasn't me.
You know, we talk about, because we're interacting in a business environment here, right, on the team. But all of these lessons that we're talking about that can make us better loan officers, better colleagues, can also make us better dads, better spouses, better leaders in our communities, right? It's like, that's what I'm taking away from this conversation is it's one way of living, and you live it in every way that you live, right? And then that's where you see the impact and the benefit. Now, Steve brought this, but he was trying to segue us back into mortgage conversation, artfully done, you know, the perfect balance there.
We appreciate that, Steve.
Yeah, we do appreciate that.
It's not all about mortgages here.
It's not.
Jack, you didn't make fun of me when I said important.
Important.
Yes.
You know, you got to balance in all things. You know, there's, you know, some people say tomato. It's about the balance. Jackson, I'm curious on your perspective on this. Steve would love to hear your thoughts as well. How do you feel about the current mortgage environment? Is that a loaded question?
Yeah, but I mean, we got limited time. I'm going to give you a limited answer, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want you to like Einstein me on it, but like, where do you see us going? Where are we at? Where are we going? Like, what are some things that you're advising in conversations you're having?
Well, as far as from a loan officer perspective, there is a lot of opportunity and success to be found if you'll be 10 toes down and focused and just work.
I like that saying. You said that the other day too.
Did I say it on this?
No.
Yeah, I've been saying it everywhere.
Yeah.
But if you can dial it in and have this be your thing, instead of having this be part of your thing,
right,
there is success and opportunity to be found. I know loan officers in the midst of this tough market. This is a normal market. We just got back to normal. We got used to easy. I know people that are having their best year ever. Multiple people.
Yeah.
And it's not because they casually are doing this. It's because they're 100% focused on it. So there's success for loan officers if you want to be focused and driven and work.
Right.
As far as buyers and technology, there's an evolution happening. And a loan officer better get on board with evolutions in technology if they want to stay relevant.
Yeah. Yeah. Steve, I'm coming to you next. Not the same question, but similar. But Jackson, just to piggyback on that last statement you just made, there's evolutions that happen all around us all the time in various different industries. I mean, the most recent one that I can think of, if you go back to before the AI revolution, is like electric vehicles, right? That's a recent revolution or evolution, I guess you could say. I mean, and then go all the way back to like Blockbuster, right? And there were people that survived and people that didn't, that transition. You know what was interesting about that? I'm still coming to you, Steve. I haven't forgot.
Oh,
I was listening to a podcast the other day and somebody said something real interesting. They were like, when Blockbuster was renting videos out, and all three of us have gone to Blockbuster on a Friday night searching for a video, right? You remember?
Yep.
They got 3 walls full of all the videos you want. The one movie, the big one that just got released, takes up the whole back wall, but all the copies are gone, right? You remember searching behind them?
Yeah. I always wanted Rad.
Yeah.
Rad. Yeah, it was always out.
Like if you put your mindset back into, I mean, that wasn't really even that long ago, like early 2000s, right? At that point in time, that was like how we thought we had to consume media, right? Because that's all we knew. fast forward 5 years, now Blockbuster and then Netflix, right, are sending you DVDs in the mail. And we thought that that was the best way to consume media. 5 years after that, now everything's on demand, right? And that shift only happened over like 7 to 10 years. So great point there on the mortgage industry. I feel like our industry has been positioned for that transition for a long time, and it's finally here knocking on the doorstep. And you're either on board or you're probably getting left at the station at this point, right? So similar question as I asked Jackson, Steve, like, do you agree with Jackson's take on the market, or do you have like a different angle that you wanted to present?
I mean, I like that the whole Blockbuster Netflix comparison, because Blockbuster is no longer around.
Right.
I think they might have one store in Oregon or something. That's what I read.
Random, right?
Some random one there. But if Blockbuster would have gone all in on streaming, they could have just built Netflix. And Netflix is one of the most valuable companies out there right now. But they decided, like, no, we're staying pat. This is how we're going to do it. And I'm not gonna evolve, and look what happened to them. And so I agree with that. Technology is, man, technology for me is tough, just because I feel like I'm 50 years old, and so it's like I gotta get on and jump on board, or I'm gonna be way too late, you know. But when you asked the question, the thing that I was going, you know, Jackson went loan officer. I'm gonna go buyer.
Okay. Good.
I think right now is a great opportunity. I've told that to every one of my buyers. I truly believe like right now is the time to buy. Inventory is good, especially if you're looking for incentives. I've actually noticed on existing home sales that sellers are actually offering a lot of the same things, you know, like 15K, 20K. I've had listing agents call me, what does it cost for a 2-1 buy down? And then magically on their listing, it shows that same amount in incentives. And so right now is they're trying to sell, and they need to sell. And man, you can get some really good deals right now. And we know at some point, I mean, I don't think we're going to be at 2.5 or 3%, but I do think low 5s, high 4s are a possibility in the next 2 or 3 years. And that's when you could take advantage of the interest rate. So buy right now, get those incentives, and then refinance down the road.
You know, Steve, I have a note written on my desk. It's been the same note for a long time. It says, add value, then ask for business. The number one thing I've been doing to add value, because it's always really tough to get the business from a listing agent as a loan officer. Yeah. The number one thing I've been doing, I've done it multiple times. I've reached out to listing agents and said, hey, I've noticed, it's usually a listing agent that I have to do with. Maybe their seller is also somebody I'm doing a loan for as they're buying another property, and I've said, hey, here's a tip, offer some concessions so that you can compete with the builders. And I'm bringing up that 2-1 buy down feature. Yeah. Saying, hey, builders are offering 2-1 buy down. Why don't you put that in your listing ad? Like, I love that you brought that up, because it's what I've been doing too. It makes me feel good. That's awesome.
I think it's smart. And like you said, you're adding value not only to the buyer, but to seller. A lot of my buyers are sellers too, right? And so it's like, hey, you got that great incentive from such and such builder. Well, you got to give that same incentive so someone will buy your house. Yeah. And that's where I think that's where we're seeing properties move. Strategy. I love this. This is where we capture market share, more referral partners, more agents. I mean, this is where if you put your feet to the ground, this is where you're going to make the most impact over the next 5-10 years.
I love that. You guys are, I mean, hopefully, I hope our team sees this. I really do, because I think what you just shared was just a nugget of value as far as how to capture and increase the value you're bringing to the transaction on the seller side. I mean, you could literally buy a domain on GoDaddy for $1, and it could be firstcolonybuyerBonus.com. I bet it's available. right? And then you could put on that website. I mean, there's various technologies that can do this, but you could create a 2-1 buy down scenario specific to whatever listing you're promoting, and have the breakdown be on that website, and they could put the website link in the comments on the listing. Potential buyers could go to that website and go, okay, here's Jackson explaining how this 2-1 buy down works and what it would look like for this house specifically.
Yeah.
Like little things like that. Like, I don't know if anybody else is doing that in this market, but like, why aren't we? Right? Why aren't we adding the value? And I was going to share some data with you guys. We're running low on time, but I'm a data junkie. This is where the nerd in me comes alive. Do you guys know who Elliot Eisenberg is?
I'm about to learn, man.
No.
I'm about to
So
learn.
you probably have seen pictures of him. He's an economist, and he always wears a bow tie. And he's been the senior economist for the National Association of Home Builders for like 13 years. So he's well versed in the new construction economics of residential home building. And here's some data from Elliot Eisenberg specifically. He said in 2024, 40% of home builder sales were to first-time home buyers. That was 15 percentage points above the 2017 to 2019 average. Conversely, the comparable percentage for existing home sales was 24%, down from the 2017 to 2019 33.3% average. Then he asked the question, why? The median home price of a new home is now 1% less than an existing house. Listen to this. Normally, they're 17% more. And between April 1st and April 15th of this year, after buy downs, sweeteners, all the things that you guys have just been talking about, builders offered 8% off the purchase price. New homes are a great value. What do you guys think about that data when it comes to new construction? Because you guys work with a lot of home builders, right? Did you realize that new homes are now cheaper than existing homes?
I didn't know that stat exactly, but I know just discussing with a lot of different home builders, they know that they have to be competitive, and it's almost like they're not being competitive against existing home sales. They're trying to be competitive against other builders in the area.
Right.
And so every builder that I talk to, they know their competition forward and backwards. They know square footage, they know finished basement, they know lot size, they know upgrades, and they bring that out to me. They'll say, hey, yeah, their price is a little bit, but we have actually 200 square feet, and our garage is another 2 feet deeper and 2 feet wider or whatever. And they're competitive, and with them being competitive, that obviously means that they got to be competitive in price,
Right.
and which is driving down the price of the new build.
Right. And I think that the first-time homebuyer side of that was fascinating to me as well. Up 15% over the average, the earlier average. Like on the new construction side, you get to work with more first-time home buyers than you would ever dream of working with on the existing construction side. The stat was it's 24% down. Like, what an opportunity to be grateful for helping new homeowners buy and establish wealth through the ownership of real estate, right? Like, we're really, really blessed is a good word, I think, or we should be, grateful for the opportunity. We should be able to get excited about it. We should be excited about the opportunity to work with builders because we're impacting generations of wealth builders, right? Because you guys know this. You've been in the game for long enough. Like, I've seen people accumulate wealth faster through real estate than any other method. Investments, stock portfolios, purchasing businesses, selling businesses. Like you can make money 150 different ways, but like I've never seen it happen as quickly as it does and as reliably, that's another word, as reliably as it does through the ownership of real estate. You agree with that, Jackson?
Oh yeah. I mean,
you don't have to,
but I do.
Okay. I mean, I'm opening the door here for you to disagree with something.
No, this isn't one of those shows where I have to take the opposite approach. We have to argue it out.
No, it's not yin and yang. It's just balance.
It's balance.
Right.
It's harmony.
Yeah.
I think your thought is right on. I agree.
Okay. Nothing more to add to
No,
it. Is the sense
nothing more to add. Like I
All
think I could put a
Here's
period.
the last data set I'm going to give to you guys. Are you ready? And in fact, I'm going to actually share this. This is a new opportunity that we've never before experienced on Al Dente. I'm going to bring in some data. Are you guys ready?
100%.
So this data, I saw this yesterday, and this is rate term refinance data. Okay. You guys think there's a lot of rate term refinances going on right now?
Not terribly. There's a lot more purchases and a lot more cash out refinances, but I'll bet you got some data here that's going to prove my.
Because I mean, you said it, Jackson. You said there's opportunities, right? You're the one that teed me up for this. You said there's opportunities. We're just not necessarily looking in the right places. In any given market, you can find success in if you know where to look for it, right? Yep. So this is data that I saw yesterday, and this is year-over-year increase in production on rate term refinances for the big boys. Okay, Rocket Mortgage. Okay, we'll look at a couple of these guys. Rocket Mortgage is up year-over-year on rate term refinance transactions 310%. Let's let that number sink in. Freedom Mortgage, ever heard of those guys? They're up 1,800% year over year on rate term refinances. Citizens missing the opportunity, right? They're down 2.2%. PNC down 1.8%, which is interesting because those are banks, right? So you start to kind of look at this and think like, well, what are they doing differently from each other and from us as loan officers? You got Bank of America, they're up 30%. PennyMac, you ever sold a loan to PennyMac?
Yeah, those guys.
Do they reach out to your client?
Every time.
Yeah,
they're up.
I think they're.
Go ahead, Steve.
When I look at it, I mean, we sell a lot of loans to Freedom and Penny, and those are two mortgage companies that they're protecting their house. We sold them the servicing rights, and they know that First Colony, and they know those lenders that sold them are good loan officers. So before we can attack, they're attacking. Yeah. Or if we attack first, they're trying to do whatever they can to keep their clients, you know.
Right. And they're closing these deals. Like this is data on closed rate term refinances. And here's my takeaway. Like the numbers are the numbers, right? My takeaway here is, as a loan officer, I've really got to be focused on three things. If I had to separate my business out into three pillars, and we'll wrap it up on this. I'm looking at like the lead generation pillar, right? Which we were talking, Steve's an expert lead generator. So are you, Jackson. Bringing the lead in the door, right? Then you've got your loan origination pillar, where you're actually bringing that consumer through the manufacturing process of the mortgage. You're closing that loan. And then you've got a third pillar, which is customer relationship management, or the post-closing relationship, right? What happens after closing? And I feel like the opportunity that we're leaving on the table right now as retail loan originators, or even brokers, I'll throw brokers in there too, that these other guys that I was just showing you that are taking advantage of, is they're getting in front of those people faster, and they're having conversations with them, and they're finding out that these people have a need, and they have a product that can solve for that need. And not everybody's going to benefit from a rate term refinance, but the data would support that there's millions of people right now in the United States of America that have rates north of 7%. Right? And you can strategically structure a loan, because you guys are experts at this kind of stuff, to help benefit a borrower. And that's not even to mention cash out opportunities to help people kind of overcome the debt windfall that they've experienced over the last couple of years. And so Al Dente, right? If we're going to cook this noodle perfect, like, let's all get a little bit better at every little part of our job, right? Not just be great lead generators, be really good in process, and then be really good post-closing. And heck, Rocket Mortgage is the proof in the pudding, right? They bought Redfin, they bought Mr. Cooper. They said, we're good at loans. We need to get better at lead gen, so we're going to buy Redfin. We need to get better at post-closing, so we're going to buy the largest servicer in the country. They're laying the roadmap for what we need to do. They're doing it at a large scale. We're not going to be able to duplicate that, right? They've got way more money, but we can learn from that in our sphere of influence and do a better job. So Anyways, this was mortgage heavy today, Jackson. Steve,
And I know you're ready to wrap this up. I've got one question for
Okay.
Steve before we really wrap it up.
okay, good.
Steve, do you have anything you want to say about what Brandon? You don't have to, but about those stats.
Man, when you were talking about, the thing that I thought about was, man, I got to be better from the start to the finish. I got to communicate, because that's something that we have advantage over those big companies is they're doing so many loans that
Right.
if we're just in front of our clients over and over again, and man, you better be at closing. I mean, when we were closing 20, 30, 40 loans a month, that was really hard. That's 40 hours, 40 hours a month. Now, if you're closing 5 to 10, man, be at closing, be appreciative, have a big smile on your face, thank them, and just be like, make it a party. That's what I try to do. I just smile, hang out, ask them when they're moving, what they're doing, and just be a human is what I say.
Have a relationship with them.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
That third pillar, the customer relationship afterwards. Before I worked here, I worked for a big bank. It was a savings and loan, World Savings. And the group that I was part of was called PRG, Portfolio Retention Group. And our entire dynamic was to make sure that our current clients stayed our clients.
Yeah.
That was our whole group's mission. And at the time, I remember a stat being shared with us, like I think it was 6% of all refinances in the market were happening with the buyers, with the consumer's current lender.
Right.
And our company, kind of our what we, our flag that we waved as our pride that we had was the fact that ours was 36%. We were retaining 36% of our buyers.
Yeah.
And we credited that with the fact that we have designated people that were only focused on that customer relationship afterwards.
Yeah.
And that might be something that some of these places that we just looked at have, but there's no reason we can't do it on our level as well.
They don't have the relationship though, to Steve's point. Like they don't, they're just picking up the phone and calling these people and getting in front of them faster than we are. And we are the ones that actually they care about and they want to talk to.
That's on us, man.
Right. So we can get better. We'll get better at that. Well,
There's a stat that I just read. There's a stat that someone, our Nick Christian sent us, Jax, and it said 2 out of 3 refinances, the client wants to go back to the lender that did their first loan. So they want to come back. We just got to be ready for them.
Yeah.
They want to. They don't even know they want to sometimes.
I know.
Okay, Steve. Last question for you. This one you're going to have to be on your toes for. Steve has one of Steve's favorite things, I believe, in life is his pool at his house.
Okay.
There has been a few times where we've had meetings and I could hear water trickling and I realized homeboy took this remotely in his pool. Anyway, Steve, if it's Friday or Saturday night and you have the opportunity to invite 5 people to come hang out at the pool, and these people each are going to bring a good story. I want to know who at our company or within your sphere of influence within your real estate network, who are those 5 people you're inviting to come tell one banger story as you hang out at the pool and you cannot say your wife or kids.
Oh man, I don't know. I would first say, man, there's a couple people here. I'd say Corey, man, Corey always has a really good story. He's the life of the party. Jax, man, I ride or die.
You made it, Jackson.
You're in there. You're always for a good story. There's no uncomfortable silence with you, you know.
Except for when I make you put your hand over your heart and close your eyes.
Yeah, I know
that was still very comfortable.
Guys, I peeked this once. Just so you know. So people I know or anyone, what do you think?
I'm just thinking in your, it could be realtors, appraisers, title company, coworkers, First Colony.
You're at 2 so far,
Steve. Even clients you've done a deal for that you just were like that guy,
That only fan.
I would have to say Troy Gabler. He's the CEO of Fieldstone Homes, and I also say Bobby Patterson. He's a builder for Patterson, owner of Patterson, but just like I would love to see them because they have totally different perspectives, and
Right.
they're one's more optimistic, and so I would say those two would be really good. And I'm trying to think, man, the fifth person, I'm gonna go with my brother-in-law. He is just the wealth of knowledge. When it comes to, he's the one that got me into my love for buying cars. So he just bought a new Porsche, but he's all into politics. He's from South Carolina, so he's got a little bit of a draw, and he loves politics. And so he'd be fun to just hang out with too.
Love it. Love it. Well done, Steve. Under pressure.
Under pressure, and man, I'm honored. I hope you didn't feel pressure to add me in that list, but that felt real good.
Yeah, well, he didn't feel any pressure to add me, so
I feel like that list is just
Steve,
all
the
day.
next time I'm going to wrap it here, okay? So get ready. But the next time you're on, we're having you back. Okay, we will have you back.
This has been fun.
I'm going to give you the question I'm going to ask. Similar to what Jackson just asked, but different. And I'm giving you time to prepare. So it's on you if you're not prepared, okay? So you have a minivan. You're driving a minivan, and it's the end of the world. The world's ending, and only you can get the people in your minivan to safety. Everyone else is going to perish. Okay? Your family's already safe. You have the minivan, you're the driver, and you can only seat 5 passengers in the minivan. Which 5 passengers are you allowing to get in that van with you, and why are you taking them to safety? And on that note,
can't wait. I'm going to really, I'm not going to sleep tonight.
You're not going to, maybe not for the next month, but on that note, thank you so much for being on here. Jackson, as always, it's a pleasure.
My pleasure.
And
Steve,
that's a wrap.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Thanks, Brandon.